Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it is I, BaoZakeruga, and today I am joined by an all-star cast of SRW content creators and people in the community to talk about our thoughts on Super Robot Wars as a whole and some thoughts on the new DLC Wave 3 for Super Robot Wars 30. So, let me go around the room real quick, introduce everyone. It is the Dankuga Prophet himself, WesttownHD.
It is that time. What's going on, everybody? Yatti Yaruze! We are in there. It is a good time to be SRW fan, bro. I'm still shaking, mainly because I just watched the presentation like 2 hours ago because I was working. But I am shaking. It is time. It is good to be an SRW fan right now. I'm so hyped.
He is who Super Robot Wars final bosses check on their best for at night, Revo.
Hey guys, happy to be here.
And the amazing translator whose team spent 2.5 years translating SRW 30 so you and I could enjoy it in English, Dramata.
Hi there, nice to be here.
Alright, so we're recording this right after DLC Wave 3 was announced earlier today, so let's just get right into that, and the rest of this will be a more general discussion on SRW, since it is about time for the 31st anniversary. So, I guess general overall thoughts from me. I think Wave 3 may be my favorite of the DLC. If you know me, you know Zanger is my favorite OG character, and Zanger is my favorite OG mech, so that's high for me. New Dankuga in Sculpt Dog forms, which was not expecting, and they both look super hype, can't wait to use them. I love Getter Devolution. Devolution's Getter 1 is my favorite Getter 1, I just love the way it looks, and I can't wait to hear that original song they're composing for it. Shinkalion is Shinkalion. I've never seen it. All I know is that it's about trains and that it has a ton of crossover stuff with Evangelion and Godzilla. In the Gungrust and the main character of Cross Omega, sort of indifferent on. It's interesting that they're using SRW4 version, but I feel like this is just going to be the Grunkus that we saw in SRWV, just recycled animation, so I can't really be excited for that. But yes, overall, very happy about this. And also, we're getting new attack animations for like the SRX. And apparently a new epilogue for the story, which I'm very curious about. So I cannot wait to play this. And all the stuff will be dropping on the 20th. Although, I think right now you can get a mission and some parts, I think, if you just log in now. But yeah. So let's move it over to Blake. What do you think?
Alright, so I unfortunately got called into work this morning, so I had intended to watch this live, but I had to go make money. So I put my phone on airplane mode. I said, "Bao, just shoot me the link when you get a chance." And then I took like a little, when I was on break, I asked Bao like, "Should I react to it?" And Bao just said, "You specifically are gonna want to see this." I was like, "All right, cool." When I was watching the presentation, as soon as I saw Shinkalion, I was like, "All right, I know what's coming." Is what I told myself. I did not expect to see a new original Obari Dankuga. Like, it was, the leak just said that Dankuga final was coming back, and I was like, that's great. I love Shinobu. It's been since Z2 that we've seen him. I've missed him in Z3, and I'm glad he's back. Just overall, I think I'm with Bao. I think this is my favorite expansion, or I guess a favorite DLC pack, because DLC 1 was what, Sakura Wars, and DLC 2 was Ultraman. Two things that are really hype in their own right, but don't appeal to me specifically. This pack gave me a new Getter and a new Dankuga. The Scope Dog is really cool as well. Our god and savior Kiriko Kuvi is back to live on 1 HP and one-shot the bosses. I'll be looking out for that content, Revo. You best know it. And it's just, it's so good. And they say this is the last pack to 30, which isn't even bittersweet. It's just lovely that 30 has become such a massive anniversary title. Like I know like Alpha 3 is probably still like up there for like best SRW and stuff, and some people would say like Z1's up there as well. But 30 is definitely gonna hold a special place in my heart. Like just the roster it has, the uniqueness of it, the open world, the map. I don't think we'll ever see an SRW like this ambitious again, and honestly I am so happy, just so happy that they kept updating it, and I'm looking so forward to the expansion.
Can definitely agree with the most ambitious part. But yeah.
For sure.
Revo, what do you think about the new DLC?
You know, I looked at the leaks, and I was like, okay, and hold my breath for certain things. I think the biggest thing to me, the thing that was special, was Votems and Danguger. That they did, because I thought they were just gonna add them, like, oh, we'll just get like the burglary dog or something for Votems, or we'll just get Final Dankuga again. No, they just gave us straight up brand new, specific for Super Robot Wars 30 mechs, and I was super happy about that.
I'm glad that the data mining didn't ruin everything.
I don't mind. I don't mind like the spoilers and stuff. Like, I'd rather kind of know about that kind of stuff as soon as possible, just to kind of get my thoughts, out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And it was still surprising. As far as, because I guess it is just DLC 3. I thought it was going to be like there was going to be a fourth one, and 3 was just going to be like Chinkalion and Get a Robo Devolution, and then there was going to be a fourth one. But I had a feeling they were going to drop all of it at once, mainly because it's been like, what, 4 months or so since DLC 2 dropped?
Yeah, basically, in December.
Yeah. So I kind of had a feeling, and it was just going to be like 10 minutes long. So it's like, okay, they could just showcase like everything left. So yeah, Get a Robo Devolution. I'm really happy about it. I know some people were a little salty for whatever reason.
Salty?
A lot of people don't like Devolution as a series.
What?
Yeah.
There's
What?
no accounting for taste.
I'm about to pull up. Yo, is this trans? I'm about to start reading this as we doing this, bro. This is crazy. I gotta know why.
Not Getter enough.
Not. What do you mean? What? That getter looked sick.
Yeah.
It looked like, literally, it looked like Baby Emperor, like shrunk down Emperor. I don't understand.
It
It
technically
rules.
kind of is, actually, but I'll
It
let
has
you discover
wings.
the rest first. So, but yes, I love Devolution. Happy it's here.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not Ken Ishikawa, but I'm glad people took up Getter after his passing, so
Mhm.
I'm all about it.
Okay. Well, Dramata, you obviously worked on the game, but I guess when you found out this was going to be DLC Wave 3, what were your thoughts on it?
Oh, when I found out, I was hype as heck. I was super happy for Devolution as well. And I was looking at, the mentions of like new scope dog going, oh, interesting. Yeah, I was really excited to see what they do for that. It was pretty fun. And now that the announcement has actually been made, I'm just sighing in relief. It's finally here.
Relief of happiness or relief that you don't have to hold on to this dirty secret anymore?
Yes. But yeah, I am really happy that it's finally coming out in a week from now. People can finally get to the end game that has been... I don't even know if I'd say it's been teased at, but it will give the game more closure than it had at launch. And
That makes me
I will
very
tell you
excited.
right now that the Getter Robo Devolution stuff is great. There's some really good interactions in there, so please look forward to that.
Oh, I cannot wait.
Oh, it's gonna be.
This is our first time having 2 Ryomas in the same game. That's crazy.
Bro, I cannot wait to see the reactions.
I am just... So, if you guys watched the full stream version of it with the commentary at the end, they had remarks from Eiichi Shimizu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I translated those. That was fun. That they actually let me
Oh,
translate
nice.
the marketing material for once ever. And
Oh,
That's awesome.
you know that Eiichi Shimizu is a man of taste because he immediately goes for Getter 3.
My
Nick
personal
Boy.
favorite too.
But I just think it is so cool that Ubisoft has sufficient working relationships with industry people that they can just bring Okawara and Obari in and design entirely new robots for existing anime IPs just for this one-off video game appearance. Like,
Right.
how cool is that? Who else does that? Nobody.
That is really freaking cool.
That's it for me there.
Okay.
All right, really quick before we move on, I just want to bring some attention to the fact that these Getter guys are being voiced now because Devolution doesn't have an anime, so they've actually been voice acted now. I'm not familiar with Hayato and Benki's voice actors, but Ryoma, voiced by Yuki Kaji, bro, this guy is known for Eren Yeager, Issei from High School DxD, also known for Amada from Aquarion, what was it, Ebol. This guy is not a stranger to Super Robot anime, and the fact that he's like a voice actor now for Ryoma, when I heard him in the trailer, I immediately was like, I know him. Where have I heard him before? And I'm just thinking, I can just hear Mugen Punch in my head now, and it just makes so much sense. I'm so pumped to hear these Getter guys, because Getter pilots always go over the top with the voice acting, and I cannot wait to hear them scream.
You know, I never made the connection of Amada and like Eren, but now that you said it, I cannot unhear it. Yeah, I cannot wait to hear all their lines. But yeah, Devolution, the one I'm most hyped for. And Zenger is here, so that's really saying something. But yes,
Zenger-
DLC Wave 3. Cannot wait. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say, Singer and Rachel are precious. That they are wonderful people, and it is so fun to write for them.
Oh
It's,
yeah, I forgot we're going to get to see them interact with people they've never gotten to interact with before.
Yeah, it's great.
I checked my Steam playtime for 30, and I'm at like 170 hours. And
Goodness.
thanks to Revo's like auto grinding method, I'm sure like 20 of those hours were just my PC left on grinding for me. But it's just, with all this new content, I want to do a fresh playthrough of this game. I don't have time. I don't have time to do a fresh playthrough of this game.
I was thinking
just-
that exact same thing. Like,
just
there's so
saying,
much
like-
new stuff. I kind of want to start over. but-
Exactly, and like I'm sure like there's like little bits of stuff like sprinkled in because like if you like replay like the final stage with like the DLC units, like all the DLC units have, at least the current final stage, have unique dialogue for the final boss. So I can only imagine that certain like, let's say like the Sakura Wars people might have dialogue for the Code Geass enemies because they were only there in the first half of the game. Like it's, and you won't know unless you go back and replay everything with those units. It's, oh, I don't have this much time.
Luckily, New Game Plus does exist.
Dramata, you are right. You are absolutely right. I've been meaning to New Game Plus because I never got the Suzaku secret in the first half of the game, and I'm pissy about it because you can't get that freaking unit any other way.
It is a sexy unit. Okay, moving on to our next topic. This one is our origins with SRW. How did we get into SRW and when? Me personally, this was right after I discovered Fire Emblem, which was from Super Smash Bros. Melee. I wanted to know where those characters were from, so I looked it up on GameFAQs, whatever. Discovered there was a game on the GBA, played that, fell in love with it, and that was actually my first ever strategy RPG. And from there I moved on to SRW OG1 because, well, I played Fire Emblem 7 and then Sacred Stones, and I was like, wow, I want more of this. So I searched up strategy games on GameFAQs, and this little game called Super Robot Taisen Original Generation popped up. And the rest is kind of history. I played those, and I went to R, which is my first Japanese game, period, not just SRW. And then kind of just went from there until I've now played over 30 games in the series. But yeah, that was around, I was about 13, so I should have, that's what, 2005, give or take? So yeah, that's how long I've been with the series. What about you, Blake?
Well, see, Bao's passing it over to me as if he doesn't already know. I met Bao back in like 2015. That's kind of when I started to break out of my shell, kind of like get a presence on the internet. That's kind of where it all started off. I remember seeing him stream a bit of OG. He was really hyping up Moon Dwellers that was coming out at the time. And he was streaming Z3, and I had kind of shown a little bit of interest in the series. And I asked him like where was like the best place to start, and he's like, well, the best place, just start with OG1 on the Game Boy. It's simple, it's on the Game Boy, you can emulate it, no party foul, it's fine. I'm like, all right, cool. So I played that over the course of being at summer camp. I worked at a summer camp for like 2 months over the summer. It was grueling. I don't recommend it. But during that time, I was just grinding out OG1, and by the end of the summer, I had beaten the game, and I had just like absolutely fallen in love with it. After that, and I regret this, I went straight to Z3. Probably should have tried some of the other games before I went to Z3. My pathing for the Z series was just completely off kilter. Played Z3 several times, Z3 Part 1 rather. Then I played Z2 on PSP. That's kind of where I got introduced to Gundam, and I fell in love with Gundam at that point, 00 specifically. And then I played Z3 Part 2. Then I played Z1. And then after that, then I played V, and then X and T, and the rest is history. Basically, it's just good man BaoZakeruga spreading the gospel of Super Robot Wars and playing it on my phone and just falling in love with the characters. And I will say something I have noticed with like SRW is like even like the older like anime, like the Alpha series, and like aside from like A Portable and stuff, most of the anime games you'll find are a lot more accessible. Like they're a lot easier. Whereas as soon as you go into the OG games, they are here to kick you in the throat, and they are going to keep kicking you in the throat. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten to like the final boss of OG Second and had to like restart the stage because I used too much SP in the first half, or I missed an attack, or they are unforgiving, but they are still great, and I really hope that when the next OG game comes out, they keep that energy.
I'm sure they will. Although, actually, I don't know. There's a bunch of broken things going to be running around OG3, so we'll see.
I'll say, keep in mind as well, we haven't gotten an OG game since V, and V is when they add that system of, oh, you want to dump every single skill in the game on one person? Hey, you can do that. I don't see a problem.
I should point out at this point that Terada has gone on the record as stating that plans for OG3 were frozen on Bandai Namco's end, and that us getting an OG3 depends on him building up sufficient hype to actually get the suits to agree to it.
So
Bro, I will be your hype man for free.
I was
I
about to
will
say,
advertise the game.
Are we
for
booking
free.
plane tickets now or after the presentation? Because I will go. I will hold up a sign, bro. Next wrestling event, I will hold up signs. Release OG3, bro.
But yeah, that's a lot of why we're getting like so many OG characters featured as like bonus DLC content.
Oh, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense, because, I mean, they own the characters, so throw them in there for free, get people accustomed to them, see the reaction and, like, the interaction with them, and then go from there.
Like, they want to build more hype and more cachet for them, and that makes sense.
It's a pretty smart move, since Moondoors is, what, 2015?
Yeah. Ish.
Oh, God, I'm getting old. How is that almost 10 years ago? Jesus. Anyways, Revo, how did you get into SRW?
So, I've never been, like, I've played strategy RPGs basically all of my life. Like, ever since I was a little kid. Final Fantasy Tactics, great. My favorite SRPG is actually Rhapsody, A Musical Adventure.
I've played that game.
I love
The name
that
sounds
game.
familiar, but I don't think I know it.
Vaguely.
It's basically the proto-Disgaea.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was made by Nipponichi Software before they made Disgaea, which I've played every single Disgaea. So, and Fire Emblem 7, like I played a lot of that. Advance Wars, stuff like that.
Oh, Advance Wars.
Can't wait for the remake or whatever, remaster. Anyway, mid 2000s, my brother was, and he's the one who got me into anime in general. And he was, at the time, he was getting into Super Robot Wars. So whenever he came home on leave, for, from the Air Force, he would play Super Robot Wars like Alpha 3 and Impact and stuff. But, me being young, I was like, I can't play this. I don't know Japanese. But as I got older, I was like, the animations are cool, and he got me into anime. So it was like Overman King Gainer, the Getter Robo VAs. Like, I was no stranger to Mecha.
Nice.
But it wasn't around until Super Wars K came out. I'd say K was the one that got me into it. I still haven't beaten it. I got super far into the game. That was when the series really grabbed me, and this was around 2010. So when Super Robot Wars Z2 Part 1 was announced, and it was like I had also watched Shin Mazinger when it was coming out. So it was like, oh, Shin Mazinger's in this game. Get a Robo Armageddon's in this game. It was like Gundam 00, and I was like, I'm in. So Z2 Part 1 was the one I went full on in the series. And ever since that game, I have always bought them at launch and have always played them through them a couple times, for the route splits and stuff. And then obviously when V came out, that was super exciting because, translated finally, and I don't have to be on Akurasu all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was pretty much it for me.
I can understand why Z2 Part 1 was like that game for you, just because that game has some insane debuting series on top of the already massive Z1 cast, which was really hype for me because, like you said, that was around 2010. And I remember I was a senior in high school, and there was some magazine someone had that had like scans of it. I was like, oh my god, I need to play this, because obviously Code Geass was already my favorite anime, and that was debuting. But poor high school student. But yeah, whenever I got around to playing that game, which was I think either the next year or the year after in college, I could not put it down. So yeah, I definitely understand.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, like Code Geass and Gurren Lagann and stuff. Crazy.
I want to replay Z2 one of these days. So good. All right.
I'm in the middle of it right now.
Oh, nice. Very nice. All right, Dramata, what about you? When did you get into SRW and how?
Okay, so Bao, you said that you got into it adjacent through Fire Emblem.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, I got into it adjacent through Dragon Quest.
Really?
Interesting.
So, the 90s, like, I'm dating myself here, but I grew up playing, like, Dragon Quest games on the NES. I really liked Dragon Quest IV a lot. Like, that was my favorite game of all time. It's still up there for me. But none of the Super Nintendo or Super Famicom Dragon Quest games ever came out in the US.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I wanted to collect Dragon Quest stuff, I had to go the full Japanese route. And so I discovered these comics that Enix's publishing label Gangan released, called Yonkoma Comics. They had 4-panel layouts with just a bunch of different joke stuff that people contributed for Dragon Quest stuff. I collected a bunch of those and had fun translating them on the side. And eventually, what that led to, I had an online friend group at the time that was really big into Super Robot Wars, and I was just kind of adjacent to it. I didn't actually like robot anime at the time. It wasn't my thing. And, like, a friend tried to loan me Alpha for PS1 and get me to play it, but it was way too complicated and dense for me, and I didn't understand any of the series there. Like, I knew nothing but Evangelion in that game.
Mm-hmm.
So, I kind of bounced off of it at first, but then I found Super Robot Wars Yonkoma manga and started picking those up, and those were pretty fun. Like, I was already familiar with the format through Dragon Quest, and so I just kind of started doing that and translating those for fun. And around the same time, a friend sent me a ROM for OG1 back when it was new, and I gave that one a try. And I found that I did not bounce off of it the way I did Alpha. Like, I actually got into it. It was a much more friendly introduction as someone who doesn't know a lot of mecha anime. Like, they were characters from older games, but they were being completely reintroduced and recontextualized, so I was able to follow everything that was going on. And the gameplay was simpler too. Like, you didn't have to worry about stuff like a limit stat. So, I got really big into OG1 and ended up buying the physical cart. And after that, I saw a promo video for Alpha 2, and that hit me hard. Like, I needed that game really bad. So, I didn't have a PS2 at the time, so I just bought a Japanese PS2 for Alpha 2. And because Alpha 2 wasn't out yet, I got Impact and figured, why the hell not, right? And so I spent a whole lot of time with Impact. I did actually beat that game.
That is a feat.
It is a feat. And it's very hard to go back to now, I'll say that. But anyway, that's how I got into it.
Very interesting. Your thing with needing Alpha 2 reminded me with Alpha 3, because I can't remember if the game... No, it must have been already out at that point, because when I was already into SRW a little bit with like OG and R and like I think D, basically the GBA games, I found the Alpha games, specifically Alpha 3 on YouTube, and I saw like Gundam Seed and a bunch of this other stuff I'd never seen before, like Gaigar. I was like, oh my god, I need to play this. I never got the chance until years later, but just watching that Alpha 3 gameplay, and it seemed like such a massive game with so much going on, I definitely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, and I was able to get more subject matter familiarity. Like, I wasn't going in totally blind after that as far as, like, series went. Like, I did end up watching stuff and getting recommendations from friends, and even just learning through osmosis while translating comics.
That's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, and I did eventually play through Alpha 1, but I did it on Dreamcast.
Oh, you played the Dreamcast version.
Yeah, and everybody has that exact reaction that you just gave, and I was like, well, what's the big deal? And then I went back and tried Alpha 1 for PS1 again later, and I was like, oh, I see, this is like night and day.
Yeah. See, I've never even played the Dreamcast version of Alpha 1. I've just seen it. It's like, yep, I'll stick to the PS1 version. I'm good.
I didn't know any better. I thought it was fine at the time because I didn't know how much better I could have had it.
I'm sure there's some type of story behind that port. Like, no one really ever talks about it, but it exists.
It left me very prepared for GC when GC came out because it was pretty much the same team and same model style.
So, moving on, let's talk about our favorite game in the series and why it means so much to you. Personally, for me, a lot of you know this, Z1 is my favorite game in the series, and I consider it the best game in the series. And honestly, there really isn't a simple answer for why. I just think that, well, first of all, coming off of Alpha 3, the Z1 engine was such a massive upgrade. At the time, it was mind-blowing. I know we've seen it a million times now to where we're just used to it, but going from Alpha 3's like more chibi pixelated like look and then coming to Z1 where it's just smooth and almost looks HD for the time, that was just like mind-blowing to me, and I don't think I skipped almost any animation in that game, which is insane. And also, I feel that they went the extra mile with the lore, the story. The tri-system in that game, in my opinion, is the perfect squad system we've ever had. And it's just a lot of things in Z1 that just make it, in my opinion, one of the most ambitious games and just overall well-rounded RPGs I've ever played in my life. But yeah, it's just really, really good. And replaying it like, I think almost 2 years ago now, I still got that feeling of, yeah, this game is special. So, Z1 for me. What about you, Blake?
So, it's so hard for me to peg a favorite because 30 is definitely encroaching on my favorite SRWs. Before, like, if we take 30 out of the picture, I would say my favorite SRW game in the series is Z3 Part 2. I know at the time a lot of people had their grievances about it. It was pretty heavy on like OG plot. The new debuts kind of got like shafted and like done in kind of early, but Z3 Part 2 I didn't play until after I had until after I had beaten like all of like Z2 Part 1 and Part 2 that I played Z1 or Z3 again. Anticipation of my copy I ordered on Amazon. And I remember I told my mother I would weed her garden if she bought me the game, and then she bought me the game and I never weeded her garden. Mom, if you're listening, I'm sorry.
Really, Blake?
Hey, listen. Times were tough. But you were saying you were in high school, you know, broke kid. Listen, all right? My hustle was impeccable. But, and then just starting it up, bro, you're like starting and like, you see like, it takes place right at the end of Z3 Part 1. You're like, oh, I got all my units here. This is great. I actually started, what did I do? I can't remember what exactly it was I did. I think I started the game, I did something at the beginning of Z3 Part 2 I started the game on my Singapore account, and when I meant to start it on my North American account, so I had to replay like the first 5 chapters over again, which was like I think probably like an hour, but to me felt like days. So Z3 Part 2, just the culmination of all the Z3 or of all the Z games. Had the Code Geass, it had Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, lets you actually use that unit for like 5 stages. That was really good. The scene that happens when you're breaking out the Gunbuster and Diebuster meets Noriko, and she's like been talking about like her Noriko or Nono Riri the whole time she was Noriko, and she's like, yeah, you're not it. And I'm like, damn, that's crazy. It's just Z3 Part 2 holds a lot of just nostalgia for me. Hibiki and the Genion are like my favorite OG characters and like OG mech. So just all of it, getting in Crow from Z2, seeing Crow in HD, and the Gun Leon and Setsuko's mech, the Glory Star, is that what it's called?
I forgot to
just
say
Virgola.
that.
For goal,
Glory
okay.
Star is her unit name,
Her-
team name.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Just it all coming together in such a great way. Gargantia did high key kind of get shafted, and I feel like they should bring that series back and do it properly, because honestly, I keep forgetting that it debuted in Z3 Part 2. It's just it was something. Yeah, getting Gundam X back in HD. I think that's the game that made me fall in love with Gundam X. And then I went on to watch the series after that, and yeah. Oh, and then okay, I'm almost done fangasming, I swear. And then all that stuff that happens with like the Aquarions, both in the meeting, having the combo attack, it just felt like a really good closure, even if some of the OG plots went weird places. But yeah, that's I think that's all I have to say about my favorite SRW.
I find it fascinating hearing someone having such a glowing review of Z3, honestly. Like, this is very new to me.
Yeah,
it was
so
one of his
what-
first.
what-
Okay, you want
I
to
was
know
gonna
the
say-
reason people hate it?
Yeah, what was it? I mean, like, okay, I've been playing a little bit of SRWW, and I've seen the way they handle the Full Metal Panic characters in this. I'm like, damn, these animations are over the top. And I look at Z3 and I'm like, damn, those animations are kind of ass. But like, was it the animations or the story, or just it wasn't as good as Z2 or Z1? Like,
For me, like, okay, I wasn't actually saying that as like some backhanded compliment.
Oh,
I was
no.
genuinely impressed. Like, that's a really interesting take that I have not heard before. But I mean, for me, I keep trying to finish Z3 too, and I keep falling off of it again because it's just there's a lot that's just not fun about the gameplay to me, and I think when I tried to play it last time, I was on a stage where I had to give every single one of my like 9 capital ships 2 kills and like 3 kills in 2 turns, I think, something like that. And then also finish the stage in 3 turns. And it was such a chore because the ships were basically unusable. Like
I will
had
say
to feed I had to babysit them really hard.
Yeah, the ships in Z3 I think are really bad, which is why when I got the Yamato in V, I was like, ships in SRW doing damage? Hello?
Seriously. But the funny punchline to that stage was that I didn't realize I had to finish the stage in 3 turns after I fed everybody the kills. So I just had Aquarion Evil just kind of rocket across the map and destroy everything. Because you could do that.
Yeah,
I love how
yeah,
broken
really,
the Aquarions are.
I will act now that you mention it. I do have my grievances about the game. Like, at the time, I didn't really care too much, but now I'm like, I can't believe they actually did that. Like making Othran and like Luna Maria like attacks, but like not actually having them in the game. I was like, at the time, because I wasn't familiar with the characters, like, okay, yeah, whatever. But now I'm like, damn, they actually really messed up in that department.
Yeah. Z3 is something. But, Revo, what is your favorite SRW game?
I'm gonna say Z. This is just gonna be a big Z, like, we all love Z apparently. Z2 Part 1. And I don't know if they're ever gonna pull this off again. The amount of debuting series and the amount of like love each of them got story-wise, like I don't know if it can be matched again. Because a lot of the series, like Code Geass, okay, you had all the units on the ground, no one was flying. You had Shin Mazinger without the Scrander. You had OG Getter 1, and then later the upgrade was Shin Getter. Like, the amount of upgrades everyone was getting throughout the game is insane. And like Gren Lagann, I don't think we're ever gonna get like Lagann and Gren just on their own.
Separated.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That's kind of the thing I really loved about Z2 Part 1 was everyone started off base. There was no, it wasn't like when, you know, Z3, oh, you just have Shin Mazinger with the Scrander and everyone else who's already there is already like post plot, so they already have their best unit. It was like, for the most part, everyone was just starting from the beginning.
And fun fact, that's the only game we've ever had that's not like mobile or a 3D game that had Exia in it. We've never gotten Season 1 00 again. Like a, quote, normal SRW.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the same can be said for, I guess, in Z2 Part 2, like 00 and 00 Riser. Because, I mean, they have, like, the neutered version in Z3 Part 2 that doesn't really do much. I don't even think that was in V. I think Ketsun just started in the Quanta. I could be wrong, but just bring back Season 1 of 00.
Agreed.
Yeah, I see what you mean, Revo. That, like, simplicity of the starting mechs that we just never have seen again. I love that about Part 1 as well.
Yeah, it's crazy. And yeah, and Gundam Wing TV. That's probably
Never
the most
seeing
loved.
that again.
Yeah, probably not, because it's usually like Endless Waltz. And the funny thing is, and I guess is kind of a hit on Z3, is when they went past TV and then added Endless Waltz in the Z3, and the animations were so bad for most of the units.
Yeah. I wish I could, like, defend the animations for those guys, but after playing W, I really can't. Like Death Scythe, they how do they take, like, the fan favorite Gundam from Wing and just neuter it? Like, I mean, I get he just swings the scythe, but he swings the scythe so much cooler in W.
W, like, it's very hard to compare modern games to W. W had a smaller roster size for one thing, and a whole lot more attention that could be spent on individual resources, I think.
I can understand that, yeah.
I think the other thing I liked about having Z2 Part 1 and Part 2 together is I love time skips. And I know W had a time skip, right? At least a short one. Yeah, so, like, I love that.
Those are cool.
Yeah, I wish they would do more, like, time skip type stuff.
W actually makes a lot of jokes about his time skip, because in game it's 6 months, but some shows are like a decade. So like when like when Rui, I forgot who asked. I think it's Akane. He's like, "You look so much older." He's like, "Yeah, puberty."
Puberty, right? And they're like, "That's not how that works."
You just hit a growth spurt.
Freaking Akito's gone through PTSD.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but my hair grows that much in 6 months.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you know, that's a fair point.
Anyway, that's it for me.
Alright, Dramata, what is your favorite game?
So, you mentioned earlier that there was a huge jump in quality from Alpha 3 to Z1, but I would argue that there was more of a jump in quality from Impact to Alpha 2.
I can definitely see that.
My favorite. It represents, I think, the single biggest quality of life jump in the series, and that's saying something considering all of the quality of life improvements that have come out since then. But I hold Alpha 2 as my personal favorite. I kind of am on the fence and would say that MX is probably the better game of the two, gameplay-wise, but Alpha 2 was just the one that was there for me. It was my first really big one that I was super hype on from the start and got in on the ground floor of, and You know, I've spent a lot of time over the years revisiting that game and, doing translation stuff on it for fun and that sort of thing. Like, I'm not tired of it. It's still great. It still holds up. And I think that a lot of people underrate the game now and consider Alpha 3 to be the end all be all and say, oh, Alpha 2 is not as hype as Alpha 3. But I don't agree with those people. I think it's a very charming game, and it's got a whole lot of cheesy 70s robot stuff that you just don't get in modern titles. Like, they stopped doing that after Z1.
I know what you mean. I also always felt that Alpha 2 was, because Alpha 3 has so much crap to like finish and wrap up, Alpha 2 was a more tightly knit story and his narrative was better told. And also Zanger is the main character, so I guess points for that alone.
Yeah. Singer was great in that game. Any game where Singer is just around to tell licensed characters to shut up and listen is a good game.
Cannot deny this. Is that it for why Alpha 2 is your favorite? Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think that the quality of life improvement from Impact to Alpha 2 is really hard to explain unless you've actually tried to play Impact.
Also, wasn't Alpha 2 the first game to let you speed up animations?
I think that might have been Alpha 3 or MX, one of those two. I don't think it was Alpha 2, no.
Okay.
Maybe it was Alpha 3 or Z1, somewhere thereabouts.
Alright, well, moving on, let's talk about standout moments in the series for us. You can list just one, as many as you want. Obviously, there's a lot. If I had to pick one single one that still stands out to me, because I'm playing W right now, I'm almost at the end. I love all the Nadescio time moments, and just seeing other characters from other IPs react to the insanity that is Nadescio. And also, I just love how, well, going back to W, I love how they mix Tekken Man Blade and what's it called, Detonator Organ. Like, if you didn't see these shows or OVAs separately, you would think they really are connected like that.
I did.
Like, is that well done to where you would really think these shows are connected like that, but they're not? For those that don't know, they're both reimaginings of the original Tekken Man, which is why they share so many similarities. But the way they work in W is just flawless, in my opinion. I also like how in the Z series, throughout the entire Z series, Shin and Camille are like each other's anchor. Because like Camille is one of my favorite Gundam characters. I never really cared for Shin that much, but the Z series made me like their relationship a lot. And it's really cool seeing it progress and how they're there for each other when like 4 dies or what's her face, Stella dies, stuff like that. Oh, there's also a moment in Z3 specifically where it involves Full Metal Panic, where there's like a judo dude or something, and Camille beats him up because obviously he says the line, "Oh, Camille's the girl's name," and someone else is there. It might have been Hibiki, but Camille's like, "Can you just not tell Shin that that's the reason I kind of joined the military?" Like, it was just a cute little moment. Like, that's the first person you thought of. But yeah, I could go on and on, but tons of great moments. What about you, Blake? Any that come to mind?
So thankfully, when you sent me the list of the topics, I immediately scoured my brain for, I was like, what moments jumped out at me from this series, and I just have like a short list of some of the stuff that I really liked playing some of the games, and more recently W, because it was fan translated, so I've been playing through that. A dynamic I didn't really expect to have in the game was the main character Kazuma and Flay from Gundam Seed. So the Kazuma kind of finds her safety pod or her escape pod or whatever, and then he brings her to the Archangel, kind of like what Kira did. But there's I think it's 2 or 3 days span time and where they get to know each other and stuff, and Kazuma kind of listens to her, and she kind of vents to him about her grievances and whatnot. And after the stuff happens with Seed, and she's in the hands of Rala Crusette and stuff, and Kazuma gets her back, and she gets him up to speed on stuff, and she's talking to him about how she feels so bad for what she did to Sai, and he's like, well, hey, listen, what you did was horrible, but you should go apologize to him. So it's a really cute moment, just with the original character in play, and not really one that I thought I would see. Like, SRW is great at making unlikable characters likable. I know a lot of people like Z1 Shin, but don't actually like Shin. So that was nice that they did that for Flay. Of course, there's always that scene in Z2 when Lelouch is trying to like direct Kamina to do something, and Kamina is just like goofing around, and Lelouch is like, I am 5 seconds from Gyosing this motherfucker because I'm tired of this. I am absolutely at my wit's end. And then Kamina eventually like listens to him, and like just like the banter Kamina has with Colin about how her mech is called Gurren and his mech is called Gurren, and they're both red.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's only room for one red Gurren around here. So it's just Z2's got like so many good moments like that, and of course there's a really good like fan image going around from a while ago of like Kamina and Ryoma like butting heads, and like the entire cast behind them, and them pushing Crow forward to like tell them like, hey, go break that up. We're not going over there. Go break that up, because Kamina and Ryoma, of course, they're gonna clash. And then in like Z3, when you had like Colin and like all the a bunch of other people kind of like trying to help confidence boost Shinji, like, listen, Shinji, we get it. Your dad is terrible, but you're not. Don't be like your dad. So, just this series is just so full of really good stuff. And again, from W, like Sosuke from Fullmetal Panic gets like really like depressed that Kaname gets taken, and so he's been like going through like this like emotional anger phase, and he doesn't know how to use the Lambda driver, and he blames himself for it. And so Ruri like takes him aside. She's like, I want you to come to this place with me. We're gonna have like a picnic. And when they go there, they meet Akito, who at this point has been like, well, Prince of Darkness. If you've seen Prince of Darkness, or you know Akito from V, he's been like basically transformed, and he's able to kind of like talk to Sosuke and like, I know what you're going through, and like kind of like explain to him what his emotions are, because Sosuke at this point has never really felt emotions. He's just been like the quiet soldier, if you would. And yeah, the last one that I have is just the interactions from the Dankoga and the Dankova Nova characters in Z1 and Z2. So in Z1, when Aoi meets Shinobu, she's kind of like, oh my gosh, he's so cool, like Father Dankoga, oh my gosh, like I have this affinity for him, I don't know why. And then in Z2, briefly, or in Z2 Part 2 rather, she like briefly like falls in love with him. And of course, because Shinobu is with Sarah, he's like, yeah, this is kind of awkward. So, and I will always remember this. And I don't know if this is like the direct translation, but in like the fan translation that you guys can find on GameFAQs, according to the translation, it said something like Shinobu like put his hand on her shoulder and said, "Listen, Aoi, I understand your feelings, and I understand that you love me, but don't fall in love with me. Fall in love with what I do." And then they had a combo attack. They beat ass, and they never talked about it again. So, you know, that's absolutely something I can see Shinobu saying, and the more I think about it, the better it is. But
I'd have to look at the Japanese for that. You got to show me that sometime.
It was like, yeah, if I ever can remember it, I'll have to see about it. But it's just, it's that was a laugh out loud moment.
Those are all great, definitely. What about you, Revo? Any standout moments from the series?
A lot of Z2 ones, because I really love Z2. Just things they do. Yoko's first introduction, her sniping the gunman, just on foot.
Oh, yeah,
fantastic. Shin Mazinger, his intro. I think it was in this introduction stage where they did the "and its name is," and then everyone's like, "and its name is," and then he says "Rocket Punch."
Yes.
I love that part. Kamina and Ryoma butting heads was always funny to me, because it just like it happened and I'm just like, this makes sense. That time that they did the episode of Code Geass where the cat got the Zero helmet.
Oh god, that event is insane.
And everyone's just like, Kamina in particular, because he always hated how Lelouch was. Well, I guess he didn't know it was Lelouch. He was hiding behind the mask, and he hated that. And he was like, "Get the mask. We're gonna find out who this is."
I love how Hero looks at like everyone running around. He's like, yeah, that's not really my problem. I'm gonna go somewhere else.
I mean, Hero does more random destructive shit than everybody else in the group combined. Let's be real.
He's just so calm about it.
Oh, he is, yeah.
It's just like a Sosuke in Full Metal Panic Fumofu. He just blows up the locker for someone opened it.
God bless Sosuke Sagara.
Yeah, Fumofu was one of the ones that really got me into Mecha too. Other parts. Ooh, Super Robot Wars X. I really liked how they saved Nia in Gurren Lagann with Nadia and the blue water.
Really good tie-in.
I was like, that is so wholesome because they're both Gainax IPs.
I didn't even think about that, but you're right.
And then there's Banjo saving literally everyone in the Z games. Oh, is that person supposed to be dead? Banjo.
I like how Banjo had a sacrifice, and then I think it was right after Kitan did the same thing.
Yeah.
Except Kitan actually died and Banjo
And
just showed
I'm
back up.
still
Like,
so miffed about that. I was like, this is the game we can finally keep him. Nope. We're surrounded by super robots, but Kitan gotta throw his head ass in the freaking spiral storm.
That is
Simo
covered in
needs
a
his
Terada
glasses.
interview. Terada has mentioned that one of the specifications he was given by the writer was that Kitan has to die.
Oh!
okay.
Oh! I hate it here. Oh! Oh my gosh. I wonder if that means that we'll never get to see, like, Kamina live in an SRW game. Like
Probably
how they let Guy live in W.
Yeah, I had
I
a
wouldn't
video
count
on
on
that.
it.
Yeah, I had a video discussing Kitan and Kamina, and then D180 actually chimed in with that exact thing. He said it was a thing the thing the creators wanted is just like, yep, these two have to die. Sorry.
That hurts me so much.
Which I guess makes sense. They're both, important narratively. So
But these are what if stories. It's fine. Just say Kamina ate Getter Rays. It's fine.
yeah. Or just do what Operation Extend did and just don't finish the story.
That seems like the weirdest cop-out, but I'm here for it.
If you don't finish the story, you get to keep all the toys in the sandbox.
Oh, guys, if you don't finish Z2 Part 1, you never have to see Kamina die.
Anyway, that's it for me.
Okay. You just made me remember a couple my favorites from Z2. Part 1, well, not Part 1 specifically. The first one was from Part 1. It was the episode of Votoms where they're like raining down money on the city. And Crow loses his mind and is just dashing all over the map for the money. I was laughing out loud. And the second one is just how they handled the What If route of Code Geass in Part 2. I loved how they handle it. Like, you could save Rolo, and by extension, Euphemia's technically saved, although she kind of doesn't approve of his actions.
Yeah.
That was kind of weird, but I don't know. I like these characters getting a happy ending opposed to the show. It was a nice alternative to Code Geass's more depressing ending. But yeah. Alright. What about you, Dramata? Any instances that stand out?
Oh yeah. I'm going to cite some older games because I'm old. Alright, so first off, Alpha 3. My favorite line in the entire game, bar none. Share an apple, listen to my song.
Oh.
Like, that's, I think, the only game where you have OG Macross hanging out with Macross Plus and Macross 7 together. And no Macross F involved. And the interplay between those three things was really great. Having Visara interact with Sharon Apple was really good, and I don't think we're ever going to get that again. V1. I'm sure you guys all remember the Zuth versus Zuth stage, in which fake news causes everybody to start accusing each other of wild stuff that they would never do. Yeah, so my experience with that stage was, well, this won't be too bad. I've got pretty upgraded units here. Oh, wait, That's Aquarion in the very back of the stage, isn't it? I'm
Yikes.
going to get Mugen punched every single turn no matter where I am, aren't I? And so I did.
Such a great stage.
So, in Impact and MX, they had Machine Robo Revenge of Kronos, right? So, for those of you listening who might not be familiar, Machine Robo Revenge of Kronos is the story of this guy named Rom Stoll, who is a wandering, like, Ronin vigilante who goes around meting out justice. And he does this by just popping up in the middle of whatever's going on and interrupting it by yelling, "Mate!" And he does this in the games at really funny moments. So, in Impact, there was a whole big scene. Impact has this parallel narrative thing going on in the first part of the game where you have Earth stages going on and then you play a space route that's happening in parallel to the Earth route that you just did. And part of this involves a Battle of Solomon where Gato from Gundam 0083 shows up with a nuclear bazooka and blows up a fleet. And you can do different things with this stage depending on how you affect it on Earth. But Rom Stoll shows up to interrupt it. And my favorite story here is one that a friend told me happened to him, in which Rom Stoll showed up right in front of Gato's position, gave his dramatic speech, but it was during an enemy turn, and so then it went to the enemy turn, Gato took his turn, used the nuclear bazooka weapon, and wiped out the entire Machine Robo crew the turn they showed up before they could do anything.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
That's
I
horrible.
find that really funny and underwhelming. But that stage is one that you can actually influence. In the Earth route, you can prevent Gato from launching into space through an extremely difficult run condition, basically. And if you do that, then when you get to the space route and that stage plays out, they'll be like, okay, where's Gato? Any minute now, where is he? And he just never shows, and you play the stage without dealing with that map weapon.
That's pretty cool.
It is. But the best Machine Robo thing is in MX. Where MX has stuff like Evangelion and Razefon, and there's a lot of stuff involving like Third Impact. So you get the scene from the end of Evangelion where all the mass production Avas are beating the crap out of Asuka's Unit 2. And then, out of nowhere, Bate! Suddenly all the mass production Avas stop and look over. And Rom Stoll is standing on the roof of the nerve building nearby and gives them a fucking speech. And completely interrupts Third Impact. It's glorious.
What a Chad.
He really is. Anyway, that's it from me.
I think you would love him, Blake, whenever you get around to playing a game with him in it. It is the most dramatic entrance ever.
I feel like is that the Machine Robo? That's that thing that runs on batteries, right?
That's Dendo.
Never mind, Dendo. Okay.
That's Gear Fighter Dendo, which is also in MX.
Yeah. Really quick, there was another interaction I just remembered from playing Super Robo Wars UX. So for those who know me, I am a huge Mazen Kaiser Skull fan. I love those boys, and I really hope they appear in a console SRW sometime in the future. They get like taken to the world of Dunbine. Dunbine plays a huge role in UX, and they're like storming this castle, and like they have like this pincer attack planned where they're gonna have like people coming in from like each side, and like this, like their commander is like in like this castle, and he's like giving out orders. And then the Mazen Kaiser Skull Boys basically just show up inside the castle, and he's like, "Who are you guys?" And then they're like, "We're the emissaries from hell. We're here to take your life." Like they gave their speech, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm so here for this."
Amazing.
And they're He's like, your fighting style, you're so brutish. Do you fight with no honor? And he's like, and what? I think it's either Kaido or Megabe. One of them is like, sure don't. Just here to get your head, boy. I'm like, I absolutely adore how psychotic these two are. It's just, I love them so much, and I really hope they appear in modern SRW because I just need them.
Yeah, it's really the crossover interplay that does it. It's not enough to sell the characters on their own. It's selling the characters interacting with a setting where they clash horribly.
Oh,
That's
yeah, it's
what makes
hilarious.
it pure gold.
All right. Series is full of great moments. I'm sure we could actually go on for much longer. But let's move on to our last topic, changes you want to see in the series going forward. So, honestly, I don't have too many, or at least not too many that I don't think are unreasonable. My biggest one is that I want them to tone up the difficulty a bit, because since I think Z3, I've been saying there's no way they can make these games easier, and with every new entry they make them easier, and with 30 being the ultimate culmination of that. And obviously there's difficulty options, but for like a normal playthrough, I want some semblance of not even a challenge, just make me think a tiny bit. Because that was another thing going back to Z1, where I was like, I can't just be on autopilot 24/7 with this, and I kind of like that.
Oh.
So that's one. Another is I kind of want them to keep, I guess, at least a 2-year dev cycle like we had with 30, because just the jump in quality with 30, with its ambition, how many stages, the character interactions, and all that. I love that. It's a great breath of fresh air coming off the VXT trilogy. And if we need more time to make these games for that to be possible, I'm all for it. Another change, more combo attacks. We used to have a ton of them, like replaying W. You have, 6, 7 Tekkamen in this game, and pretty much all of them can combo with each other, and it's so great.
Like, yeah.
So, yeah, like, the 3 new Tekkamen you get after the time skip, Hyver, Vesna, and Sommer, they can do a triple Volteca, or a double Volteca.
What?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
No one told me that. I've been using all 3 of them. And I just got my seed units, so they're benched. What the heck?
You gotta try it. Trust me, it's worth it.
Tekkaman Hiver is unironically like one of the strongest units in the game. In a game
Yes,
with
she
really
is
strong
busted.
units.
Her map attack is busted in W. I was like, who thought this was okay? It's stupid good. But, going back to what I was saying, more combo attacks, because in recent games there have been so many cool potential ones that we have just never gotten. Like a double Inazuma kick in Z3, stuff like that. Team up attack with the Braves. 30 has some interesting ones, but more combo attacks. And I guess if I had to list one more change, less safe picks with a new series. Because that's one of my favorite things about the old handheld games, which are probably at an end now because the Switch is a hybrid, was that their rosters were out of left field. Like UX had SD Gundam, Lion Barrels, Hasane Miku. Just really crazy stuff, and that made those games more fun. So I want to see the less safe picks going forward. But I understand that's not very realistic with major console games, but a man can dream. What about you, Blake?
So, my biggest gripe with VXT is that if you look at the rosters, they all kind of blend together with how many similarities they have. I have been counting the days since we last saw Dytron 3 in hopes we won't see him again for a very long time. Nothing against Banjo, it's just he was in all the Z games, he's been all the Alpha games, and then he was in V and X. So I was like, yeah, just take Dytron, just put him on vacation, put him on his own island. Banjo's got money, just put him on vacation.
I got the impression that they were retiring Dytarn after X. That was the impression that I got from the way he was written in X. Hirotaka Suzuki has been gone since 2006, and I think it's a good time to retire it.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that last, but yeah, that would make a lot of sense then. But yeah, like Bao had mentioned, I love some more some more like I guess unsafe picks. I really like how they add Soccer Wars to 30, means they're not afraid to delve into the video game space as well. Because I think what they had, what was it? What was that Hatsune Miku based off of? It was a video game,
Virtual
right?
on.
Virtual
Virtual
on,
On,
yeah.
which is also Sega.
So yeah, I am a big Trails of Cold Steel fan. I'm sure Bao would love to see Xenogears in Super Robot Wars. So like,
Same.
there is a very big like untapped potential for if they wanted to like let's say every like game include like maybe one or two video game series, just to like kind of, because they've already like 30 is so like balls to the walls when it comes to their picks, like Soccer Wars. They got Ultramen, which I mean, I guess they're like power suits, I guess, which I guess is kind of like what Tekkaman are, so it's not too far flung. But I do want to see them like stretch the bar a little bit as to like what can be considered like a mech. Like we had Godzilla in the mobile game. I don't think we'll ever see Godzilla in a console game, but just having Godzilla just show up like Toby Kage randomly in stages and just attack things would be hilarious. I would be so here for this. Just every time there's a big threat, Godzilla just shows up and then just leaves. And yeah, I think I am with Bao as well. I think yearly SRW for like VX and T, I think it was okay. It definitely like led to that hype season where you're like, okay, it's the beginning of the year. We're gonna get a new SRW either in February, March, or April, and we're gonna play through it, and we're gonna wait till the next one. I really liked how T kind of gave us an expansion, and then we could just kind of keep playing the same game, despite the fact it didn't really add any new series, unlike 30. So I think it would also be healthier for the devs if there's like, I don't know how SRW is with like crunch. Hopefully there's no crunch with the series, but if they have like a bigger development time frame, like I don't think we should subject the development team of SRW to another game like 30 where like you can go anywhere at any time. Like I fully understand and I fully appreciate how long it took to make that happen, and how Terada said like he's like, this was a nightmare and I don't want to do this again. So full respect to the man where respect is due. Just keep going back to traditional SRW games, and just take a bit more time with it maybe, instead of like bringing back as many returning series. Try and fish out some other returning series, like maybe like bring back some other stuff from the Z stuff, bring back like King Gainer or like Dankoga Nova, Quarion, like Gravion. I'd love to see Gravion again. I love Gravion, but yeah, no, that's basically it. Just relax with the dev times, no rush. SRW every 2 years, I can handle that. And Bao asks for more difficulty. I say, I think the difficulty's fine, because as soon as we get to OG3, we're gonna be we're gonna be asking for an easy mode. Okay, it's now OG3 is horrifying. The premise still scares me, but we'll see.
Okay, Revo.
You guys mentioned difficulty. I feel like it's an issue of just they aren't balancing the game around certain things. And that's where, like, when you start upgrading people and giving them items is where things just start getting insane and you just start face rolling stages.
That's kind of the point, though. Like, from a design perspective, it's meant to be a game that you can beat with any unit, because every unit is somebody's favorite.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I suppose that's true.
Yeah, I personally don't mind it, and it's more because I'm in the metagame part, so I'm going to find something to just completely break.
If you guys want difficulty, you're welcome to play F.
I say at least tone down the money income. I shouldn't be able to fub a unit after every stage. It's a little ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, credits are the first thing you get capped on. It's kind of crazy. Going forward, I would like to see them, if they were going to do this, pick a stage, open concept kind of thing, I'd like them to expand on it and tweak it a little better. And actually have a post game rather than what they have now, which is you could just repeat the front missions and abuse Advent as much as you want, I guess.
Advent deserves it.
Yeah, he was a good sport about it when he showed up.
He
I'm
is
very
a good
curious.
sport.
I'm very curious if the ending of the game will tie into Adventure Zero in any way.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. And you guys mentioned some series. I want a lot more Bones representation, because when you look at all of the series that Bones Mecha have been in, it's only one game. Like Raxaphon was in MX, Eureka 7 was in Z, Pocket Full of Rainbows was in Z too, but you know, whatever.
I want Eureka 7 back. I love Eureka 7.
Yeah. What else? I think Star Driver was in Cross Omega. With,
Star Driver is so
Captain
good. Galactic Pretty Boy. Oh,
Oh yeah, they had Hero Man in a game. I'm looking up Bones's arsenal
oh yeah,
now.
that was in
Yeah.
UX, I think.
Yeah.
I had no idea what the hell Hero Man was. I thought he was like a knockoff version of what's that? Trider. Yeah, I thought he was or was it Tetsujin? No, yeah, Tetsujin. I thought he was a knockoff Tetsujin.
Another thing, expand upon the supporter system.
Agreed.
And I would tie that into squad system. At the very least, make units part of a supporter system that you can pair. So say like Aphrodite Ace or whatever, pair them with Mazinger.
I like
And
that idea. Like being able to, you could stick Kaname as a supporter with like Hero or something.
Yeah, and either it augments something about them, whether it's like accuracy or damage, or after the attack replenish some energy or whatever. Like just more stuff for side characters to get more action, basically.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, I like that.
I also want
Yeah.
Parrot back now that you mention it.
And it's a crime that we didn't get the boss Barat for Infinity. I was hoping so hard for 30 because we got Giant Sangyung from Ray-Earth.
Giant Sangyun was like the breakout hit of 30, honestly.
Oh my gosh! When I saw that thing, I was like, "What the hell is this? What the hell is this?"
I had to make a video of it one-shotting major bosses.
Of course you
throughout the
did.
whole game.
Yeah.
Of course you did.
It was too good to pass up. And yeah, combo attacks, big thing. Like, why would you not? In T, you had Might Gain and Gao Gaigar. Why would you not have Maito and Guy with some kind of combo attack? Because they're voiced by the same person. I love Nobuyuki Hiyama.
Such a great voice actor.
Anyway, that's it for me.
Okay. And to finish us, Dramata, changes you want to see to the series.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep talking about Impact and MX. They had really good stages in that game, believe it or not. Like they had like really well designed stages with like props and models from different series and height differences. Like the stage going to the Science Fortress lab from Great Mazinger had like actual cliffs overlooking the little outlet to the lab on this like stuck out over the ocean near the beach. Like they had real terrain features and that was cool. Like you could position enemies around them and have challenges where you can go down this way but you can't go back up unless you're flying. I want more of that. They also just had really cool aesthetic designs. Like most of the stages in modern SRW games are either just like a flat land layout or space. Sometimes you get like some colonies in the background if you're lucky. But like Impact had this one stage that was like the inside of the colony laser from like late stage Zeta Gundam, where it had like a bunch of glass tubes that you could fight around. And if you delayed too long in selecting that stage, then it would be broken and you would go in and it would be a bunch of broken tubes with like floating glass shards all around the stage whenever you rotate the camera. That was really cool, and I want more stuff like that again. I want them to bring that back.
It's really cool attention to detail.
It is. And they haven't done that since MX, and it bugs me. The other thing I want is a basic quality of life feature. I want them to add a visual novel style option for skipping dialogue that you've already read.
I would be very welcomed.
Like, there's a lot of text in this game to go through, and it's hard to tell at a glance what you've already seen and what's new. It would be really nice if they distinguished this for you and let you just skip to the part that you haven't seen before.
Like on New Game Plus.
Yeah, exactly.
I can definitely see that. It's almost surprising that hasn't been a thing yet, since that is a standard in visual novels.
Yeah. Like, if they're going to have so much text, they may as well double down and, like, employ visual novel quality of life elements to go with it. But that's it from me.
Okay. Well, any last closing thoughts on the series as a whole? Anything you guys want to mention?
There was something in my head and it's completely gone. It's fine. I'll put it in the comment section whenever I think about it.
This is why I
Okay.
keep Notepad open to type notes in.
That's actually... I should have done that.
I can't wait for the new units, and I hope one of them can breach 1 million damage. Have some kind of ace bonus. Suruga and the Gold 4 is the only one I've been able to pull it off with. Like literally everyone else, no matter what configurations I do, they get like high 800,000, low 900,000 damage.
Wait. You said the Gold 4? As in from Majestic Prince, the little sniper with mono eye thing?
Yeah, he's the highest damaging unit in the game.
I don't want to accept
What?
this. I don't like this reality. This hurts me on a personal level.
I feel like
Are they
there's levels to the hilarity of this.
Are they giving that thing more attack? Because they're adding the... Is that the movie, Majestic Prince?
Oh, actually, believe it or not, it's just the blue one getting a new attack.
Oh.
They specifically listed 3. And it's the ones they showed off, which is kind of weird, but yeah.
But, so is it a movie or is it like... It's not the second season. Is there a
It's
second
the
season?
movie. Yeah, it's the movie.
I thought the movie was just a recap of the series.
It is not.
Okay. All right.
This kind of sucks for me who didn't upgrade a single thing from Majestic Prince, but
Oh, no. You think you got a bad bow. Imagine the people that lost the Red 5 in the first DLC patch. Remember that? Remember when that happened? What happens if they haven't gotten it back,
No.
Bow? What happens
That was
if they haven't gotten it
hilarious.
back, Bow?
that was
Didn't affect me at all.
hilarious.
I didn't even notice.
It didn't happen to me either. I don't even know what the requirements were for that to for it to trigger and erase him for you.
To me, that was peak comedy. But
That was a pretty funny bug.
they shouldn't have patched it, but that's just my opinion. Anyways, thank you all for sticking with us to the end of this one. You can find links to all these lovely people down in the description below. Let us know your thoughts on Super Robot Wars in the description. Some of your favorite moments, how you got into the series, whatever you want to say. Thank you guys for sticking with us. We will see you next time.
Deuces.
Bye, guys.
See you later.